Hi there, welcome or welcome back to our channel. In this video, we're going to go over the 7 basic phrases that people always use to give their opinions in the advanced speaking exam, and 7 ways to upgrade them to impress the examiner and get a grade A result. During the video, there is a little gift from us to you, as well as at the end of the video, some real exam practice with authentic examiner questions. So you definitely don't want to miss that. So if you're preparing for the Cambridge Advanced exam, or you just want to know more about it, then I highly suggest you subscribe to Home Studies. Right, are you ready to improve your speaking? Good, let's go. In this video, we're going to focus on the discussion, which in the exam happens in parts 3 and 4. In parts 3 and 4, you need to engage with a speaking partner. So part 3 of the speaking test is a collaborative task in which you look at a mind map like this and talk about a question that's been posed. So you can see the question is in the middle, and then there are 5 prompts to help you. Then in part 4, you discuss the topic of part 3. So here the examiner will ask you questions, and be careful here, it isn't a discussion with the examiner. You need to continue speaking with your partner. So let's look at some example questions. In what ways can training change people's attitudes in the workplace? How difficult is it for young people to find jobs nowadays in your country? Why? What can be done to create jobs for young people? Some people think that school does not train young people adequately for the world of work today. Do you agree? So as you can see in the first 3 questions, they're open questions, okay? The examiner wants to use words like how or what or why to try and get you to give your opinions and to give answers in detail. Then, like in the last question, they might make a statement which you then have to agree or disagree with. This is also quite a common format for the questions in the discussion part. Now, there are 4 key skills that are required from you at this stage. So when it comes to you, you need to give your opinions, and you need to give reasons and examples to support those opinions. So we've discussed this in the previous video. It's not just enough to give your opinion, you have to justify it with additional information. So when it comes to engaging your speaking partner, again, you need to do 2 things. You need to ask for their opinions, so find out what they think about the topic you're discussing, and then agree or disagree with their opinions. Remember, you shouldn't always just agree with what they say, because disagreement can lead to discussion, and that is ultimately the point of this part of the exam. Regarding these skills, I've got good news and bad news for you. On the one hand, there are a variety of ways that you can express yourself. But on the other hand, I bet that a lot of the expressions you're using, like these ones, could be well below the level of Cambridge Advanced. So these expressions are okay, but do you want to be just okay in the exam? I didn't think so. The exam is expensive and stressful, so I'm sure you want to pass it the first time around. So let's get into some practice with part 3, which, as I said before, is the collaboration. Okay, we're going to practice giving opinions using the language of Cambridge Advanced. So we're going to upgrade those basic expressions into something that's going to impress the examiner. So here is a sample mind map, and this is the task that we're going to use for the basis of our practice. So like in the exam, just take a moment to look at the mind map. Okay, got it? So now we're going to look at some examples of candidates giving their opinions about this topic, so about this mind map. In each instance, there's going to be a basic example of giving an opinion, and then we're going to look at an upgraded version. Okay, so this is the version you want to try and memorize and use in your exam if you want to do well, if you want that grade A. Got it? Okay, let's check out some opinions. So let's start off by looking at transport. So an example of a basic opinion on this topic would be, transport in my country has definitely improved thanks to new technologies. Okay, the answer is great, but definitely could be better. So how about you say something like, transport in my country has without a doubt improved. So without a doubt is a really good phrase to show that you are sure or certain about something. Now let's look at the topic of the media. So in my opinion, print media has been destroyed by the internet. In my opinion is kind of a stock phrase that everyone uses in the exams, but really this is A2 language. How can we upgrade? Yeah, for example, you could say something like, from my point of view, or from my perspective. These would be two expressions that really upgrade that basic phrase. And what about the medical field? Well, an opinion could be, I think the medical field has gained the most from technological developments. Now, if I were you, I would avoid using I think in the advanced exam. It's accurate, but it's not impressive. Why not rather say something like, to my mind, the medical field has gained the most. So this is a really nice little phrase that means to think, but it's sure to impress the examiner. And how about sports? What can we say about that? Well, we could say, honestly, the money spent on advances in sport is ridiculous. So that's my opinion. You might not agree. Now, honestly is okay. It's not bad in terms of the phrasing. However, we can go one better. We could say something like, to be perfectly honest. Now, this is a really good advanced expression and I guess quite easy to remember. So you might want to try substituting honestly for to be perfectly honest in the speaking test. So as you probably know, technology and stress and burnout are often connected. So you might want to give your opinion on that. You could say, I usually agree with people who say that technology can lead to stress and exhaustion. So I usually is the basic phrase here. How could we upgrade it? Well, we could say something like, I tend to agree with people who say that. And I love the expression tend to, because you can use it with so many verbs. I tend to think, I tend to believe, people tend to say. You know, it's really got a lot of potential in the speaking test. So this topic of social media is one that comes up in the exam time and time again because, frankly, everyone has an opinion on it, so it's a perfect topic for a discussion. So a basic opinion would be something like, I understand your point about social media, but I think it can be quite toxic. Now, understand can be easily upgraded by saying, I take your point. So this is a good expression. And you can even go one step further. So you can say, I take your point about something, but. And this is a perfect way of sounding like a British native speaker, because when they want to disagree with someone's opinion, first of all, they acknowledge that opinion, and then they use a but or a however to give a different perspective. Another big topic that often comes up is music. And obviously music and technology, those two do go hand in hand. So a basic expression could be, I think technology has had a huge impact on the music industry. So we're back to think because, as I said, people use this one so much. Do you know a verb in British English that has the same meaning as think? That's right. It's the verb to reckon. So you could say, I reckon technology has had a huge impact on the music industry. This is a great one. And believe me, if you can use reckon in the exam, you'll sound more like a native speaker. So let's just repeat it together. Reckon. One more time. Reckon. That's awesome. Okay, so now let's focus our attention on part 4, the discussion, which, as I said before, is an extension of the topic of part 3. So in this discussion, you want to be using the same expressions for giving opinions and for asking your partner for their opinions, okay? So the language we practiced before is going to also come in super handy in the task that follows. I highly recommend that you record yourself speaking while you're giving your answers in the next part of the video. So this way you can play back your speaking and you can listen and you can hear what is the language you've used for opinions and ask yourself if there's any way it can be upgraded. Okay, so now I'd like you to listen to some exam-style questions, just like the kind that you could hear in the exam. So I'll be the examiner. I'll ask you a question, pause the video, then give your answer. Then when you're happy, press play to continue. Got it? Okay, so question 1. How has technology made our lives more dangerous? Question 2. Do you believe that one day technology will solve all our problems? Question 3. What effect has modern technology had on the lives of young children? Question 4. Some people say life was better 50 years ago. To what extent do you agree? Okay, great job. So when you listen back to your answers, you can ask yourself the following 4 questions, and it's going to give you a pretty good idea of how well you could perform in the speaking test. So, have I used good vocabulary? This is a must for the advanced exam. Have I used a wide range of grammatical structures? Okay, again, this is essential. Have I used level-appropriate expressions to give opinions? That's what we've been working on in this video. And have I justified my opinions with reasons and examples? So as you know, you have to give more information. You have to elaborate on your opinions. So let's take a look at some sample responses. Obviously, there are lots of different ways that you can answer these questions, but these are just an idea of how you can answer them using level-appropriate language for giving opinions. So, question 1. To my mind, social media and mobile devices are the greatest danger to our well-being. Using them can lead to some physical issues like eye strain and some more serious health conditions such as depression. Question 2. From my point of view, the COVID-19 pandemic showed us that this isn't true. Digital technology could not prevent nor control the virus. Instead, good policies, healthcare, and common sense helped a lot. I reckon simple face masks were more effective than those fancy contact tracing apps. Question 3. Without a doubt, technology has a huge influence on the lives of small children, for good and bad. On the one hand, using a tablet too much instead of reading books can impact the development of a child's imagination. On the other hand, some games and apps help them learn how to make decisions and solve problems. So I can really see both sides. And question 4. To be perfectly honest, I think life was better 50 years ago than it is today. For instance, it was easier to feed a family on one person's salary, and it was much easier to buy a house. I also think communication was healthier, as people weren't so dependent on their phones, and as a result, you could meet new people in a more organic way. In all of those sample answers, you saw the upgraded language for opinions in action. You get it, right? Well, we want you to get it perfectly. And that's why we're giving you a free download of 20 more exam questions so you can really master this before your speaking test. Just click the link below. And now it's over to you for some more exam-style practice. So here are 5 exam-style questions on the topic of money. Are we slaves to consumerism? How important is it to save money? Do you think it's a good idea to lend money to a friend? Why or why not? Some people earn much more money than others. Is this fair? Why or why not? Some people say money can't buy happiness. To what extent do you agree with this? Okay, so just like you would in the exam, give your opinion on these questions. Why don't you write those opinions in the comment section below, and we'll give feedback to the first or most interesting comments. Well, that's going to do it. I hope you're feeling a lot more confident about the discussion in the speaking test. If you do feel like you got something out of this video, then please go ahead and share it on your socials. And do not forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our weekly updates. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope I'll be seeing you in the next video.